Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the Democratic Socialist nominee running for the House of Representatives in New York, hasn't been elected yet. But don't tell that to Alex.
Many folks got elected with some corporate money and then they swore it off after. But I think I'm one of the first to get elected right out of the gate without any corporate PAC money.
You don't get elected to anything by winning a primary. She only won the nomination. She's not elected.
I think that it's just premature for me to commit to any kind of decision on this. I was just elected on Tuesday, Chuck.
Fair enough. I'm going to leave it there.
So much for Chuck Todd calling her out. God, I miss Tim Russert. Anyway, I've been tracking her candidacy since April of 2018, when the Young Turks did a feature on her.
This specific neighborhood's called Parkchester. It's actually a really historic neighborhood in the Bronx, and it's traditionally been just a first-generation community.
In case you missed that, let me show you again. Yep, it's a guy urinating into a bottle. Fantastic work, TYT. Anyway, in the primary, she ran against Representative Joseph Crowley, a 10-term congressman and the fourth most powerful Democrat in the House.
I am primarying a corporate Democrat. I am primarying a Democrat.
Come on, spit it out, Alex.
My opponent's name is Joseph Crowley, and he is the leader of the House Democratic Caucus. He takes about $3 million per cycle from Wall Street, pharmaceuticals, luxury real estate developers, private equity groups, a corporate Democrat.
That is a very accurate description of Joe Crowley. But then she took it a little too far.
In fact, he actually takes money from the same people who financed the Trump presidency.
First off, you can't finance a presidency. You can, however, finance a presidential campaign.
Finance the Trump presidency.
Second, Crowley has been a very outspoken critic of the Trump administration, so Ocasio-Cortez trying to connect him with Trump is just dirty. Now, I'm no fan of Joe Crowley, so watching him get destroyed in their debate was pretty fun.
And we largely, Errol, I think, agree on the issues. There really isn't much daylight and separation between the two of us. But there is an issue where we do disagree, and that is on the issue of guns.
Okay, let me set this up. In June 2017, on a Reddit AMA, Ocasio-Cortez stated, "Locally, I happen to support New York City's more strict take on gun control, but I also believe that there needs to be flexibility on the national level. New York City isn't New Mexico."
My opponent has said that she doesn't believe that the laws of New York City should be or can be applicable necessarily to the laws of New Mexico. She said that the flexibility would need to be...
That's incorrect.
No,
Where'd you get that?
People can read it on Reddit at a forum.
On Reddit?
On Reddit, on a forum that you participated in.
Liar!
Ultimately, it doesn't matter that she lied because Crowley was so incoherent in his attack.
That's incorrect.
And now, watch it blow up in his face.
You know, aside from trolling internet forums, I think that one of the things that we need to really take a look at, let me make things very clear. I believe in a ban on assault weapons. I believe in a ban on bump stocks. Not only that, I also don't take money from private equity groups that have holdings in gun manufacturers either. So I think that there's really doesn't even come close, and there is no daylight here.
I have the high ground!
I'm willing to make a pledge tonight that if you win this primary and have the support of the people of the 14th Congressional District, that I will fully endorse and work for your, and vociferously and robustly work for your election to Congress. My question to you is, will you do the same if the people of the 14th Congressional District choose me as their nominee in November?
Well, Representative Crowley, I represent not just my campaign, but a movement. And I am proud to be endorsed by organizations like Democratic Socialists of America, the Movement for Black Lives, Muslims for Progress, and so on. And as a result, we govern ourselves democratically. So I would be happy to take that question to our movement for a vote and respond in the affirmative or however they respond.
In other words, I have to go back to my socialist friends and see what they think because I'm not allowed to think for myself. I would have had more respect for her if she just said no. At the end of the day, Ocasio-Cortez won the Democratic primary election, beating out Crowley by 4,136 votes. And of course, President Trump took notice.
And one of my biggest critics, a slovenly man named Joe Crowley, got his ass kicked by a young woman who had a lot of energy. She had a lot of energy. I guess he didn't see it. They couldn't find him.
I mean, first of all, it is unacceptable to be, disrespectful. I think of Congressman Crowley. He's done some phenomenal work for
for the Bronx and Queens.
For over 20 years, the interests of working families have been sold off to luxury real estate developers, Wall Street banks, and for-profit healthcare corporations.
He's done some phenomenal work.
Well, she certainly flip-flops like a politician.
You know, I'm first and foremost saddened and upset at the disrespect that he displayed at my predecessor.
Predecessor, a person who occupied a position or office to which another has succeeded. He is not her predecessor because she is not his successor. She hasn't won the seat from Crowley yet. Not to mention that she has a Republican challenger to beat in the general election. Anthony Pappas is an associate professor from Astoria who holds a PhD in economics from Yale and a Bachelor of Science in economics and mathematics from MIT. So on paper, he could probably decimate her in a debate. But there have been allegations in his past that he abused his ex-wife, who has a 20-year restraining order against him, and he allegedly made threats to a judge. And worst of all, he doesn't even have a Twitter or Facebook account. I mean, come on. So the election's pretty much in the bag for Alex. Except for one thing. Joe Crowley is still on the ballot for the general election. Yep. And while he pledged to support her campaign, he's done nothing of the sort. Sure, he promised, but that's politics, I guess. Whatever. Now, unlike corporate Joe Crowley, Ocasio-Cortez has pledged not to take corporate PAC money, claiming that she can't be bought or influenced by corporations.
I got elected on not taking corporate PAC money.
Not elected yet!
Which gives me, I believe, a very large degree of independence. And so it's really just about learning to navigate that space with that foundation.
From a moral standpoint, I don't see a problem with that. But from a practical standpoint, you need money to get reelected. And fundraising for your party is expected and in some cases required. For example, according to this leaked spreadsheet from 2014, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee expects all House members to pay dues and raise funds. If she wins the seat, Ocasio-Cortez, in her capacity as a House member, would be expected to pay at least $125,000 in dues and raise $75,000 to the DCCC. Let's be realistic. If she is unable, or even worse, refuses to raise funds, then it's very likely the Democratic leadership will ignore her. And if she introduces a bill, it won't be referred to committee. All signs point to her being a very ineffective representative for New York 14. Joseph Crowley, on the other hand, is one of the biggest fundraisers in the Democratic Party. He has the support of big-name donors, 24 New York labor unions, and almost certainly the Democratic Party and its leadership. So you can bet that there's going to be some backroom negotiations to make sure that he keeps his seat. There could also be plans to sabotage Ocasio-Cortez's campaign, although she's doing a pretty good job of that on her own.
Why aren't we incorporating the cost of all the funeral expenses of those who die because they can't afford access to health care? We're here in Kansas City to rally for Brent Welder. We're gonna flip this seat red in November.
You used the term the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that?
The only thing for certain, whoever wins, we lose. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to hit that like button and check out some other stuff. And of course, a big thank you to all of my viewers and subscribers, old and new. Thanks for stopping by and sticking around, and I'll see you next time.